Hello everyone. Today we'll continue with few more issues about trees. See, there are two important things. I mentioned in the earlier lecture that if there are some linear structures like say x1 plus x2 less than some threshold leads to y belonging to certain class, something like that, then for trees it is difficult to capture this. That's what we saw last time. So the structure would look like something like this. Okay, so this is one class, this is another class, but trees would try to approximate it via binary splits. So suppose I am in the bivariate data, so trees try to approximate it via something like this. Okay, so this, maybe this, so this and this may be misclassified. You may have to increase the number of partitions to get better classification and so on. Okay, so some people suggested that why not allow such types of splits. Okay, so what they did was, instead of choosing the splitting threshold only on the basis of single variable xj, they said we can have something like summation aj xj less than some threshold sj. Okay, so every optimal split would be of this type. Of course, the single variable splits are subsets of this, right? Single variable splits are subsets of this because I can have all the other ages as 0. Okay. But then why didn't this suggestion gain much prominence? The major reason is that trees are more known or more widely used because of what is known as their interpretability. Okay, so one of the aspects that makes trees popular is their interpretability, because it's easy for me to understand that okay, if weight of a certain person is greater than something, then that person is more likely to have a heart attack, or if BMI of a person is greater than something, then that person is more likely to be diabetic and so on. Whereas as soon as I bring in this business, as soon as I say okay, weight plus 2 times height is less than something, it becomes uninterpretable for me. Okay, as a result, even though this suggestion was there, it didn't gain much prominence. Okay, so all the time we are using only the single variables. We don't go for such linear combinations of variables to decide the splitting criterion. Okay, but I wanted to mention that this has been already studied by people, but it didn't yield that much great results. Means if you want to bring in complexity, you should at least gain something, gain something in prediction which is worth compensating for that complexity. Okay, so that didn't happen, so it didn't gain much prominence. Okay, another thing that another important drawback of trees is the lack of smoothness. Okay, what is meant by lack of smoothness? How do we decide predictions for the trees? We know that finally whoever is in the leaf node, everyone in that leaf node gets the same prediction. So you have some tree which is grown something like this, and then finally whoever is in the leaf node, everyone gets the same prediction. Either the modal class when you are in the classification setup, or the average of the responses for observations in that class when you are in the regression setup. So if there are say 15 observations in a particular node, all these 15 observations would get exactly same predictions even in the regression setup. In classification setup it doesn't matter much. Okay, but in the regression setup, ideally you would expect something like this or something like this. So you expect a continuous prediction. Whereas what trees do is they give kind of flat predictions for everyone belonging to that class. So as a result, predictions via tree are not smooth even if your y is a continuous random variable. Okay. Can you think of some other estimator or some other statistical method which had this drawback? Correct. When you try to estimate CDF by empirical CDF using the sample, even if your original observations, even if your original population is continuous, your empirical CDF obtained from the data is always a step function. Okay, so that estimator exactly has the same issue that the trees have, that is they are not smooth. Okay, so these are some of the issues with the trees, but overall trees are still quite popular due to their interpretability, and many a times if you actually have that kind of structure which can be approximated well by binary splits, trees do give better results than other classifiers. Okay, now just to summarize, how does the tree procedure work exactly? Again, see, most of these things are taken care of by the software automatically. We don't have to do it, but we should know the procedure. So given some data, say x1, x2, xp and some response y and observations o1, o2, on, the first thing you decide is whether you want cross validation or not. So generally k-fold cross validation is preferred with k equal to 5 or 10. So if I want to do k-fold cross validation, the very first thing I do after getting the data, assuming that I don't have any missing data and all, is divide my data into k parts. Okay, k arbitrary parts. So maybe O1, O5, O7 are here, O2, O6 are here, O4 and so on are here, O3 somewhere here and so on. So divide data into k folds. Then what you have to do, on every fold, first see, you have to keep one fold as test and do something. Okay, so what you do, you try with different values of alpha. So what do you mean by that? With a particular value of alpha, let's say alpha 1, you keep fold 1 data aside, you fit a complete tree on the basis of remaining folds, then prune that complete tree using this value of alpha, that is alpha 1. Okay, and use that pruned tree. So when you do pruning, you are using training error, correct? For pruning you are using training error. When you prune that tree using alpha 1, so use that pruned tree to predict the observations for the fold which was kept aside. That would give you validation error 1. Then keep second fold aside, fit a tree on the basis of first and remaining folds, prune that tree using alpha 1 and get validation error 2 by predicting the observations from this set via the pruned tree. You do this for all k folds and you do this for all alphas, whatever number of alphas you have, let us say alpha m. Okay, and then for each alpha you compute average validation error. Okay, once you have average validation error, you see for which alpha the average validation error is least. Suppose it is least for this alpha r. Okay, then what you do after choosing that alpha r? Now consider the entire data that you have, no folds. Consider the entire data, fit a single big tree on that data, and then with alpha r prune that big tree. Okay, this alpha r was chosen from the validation thing. So with that alpha r prune that tree and report that tree as your final tree, which can be used for prediction of new observations. Is it okay? That is the entire tree procedure in short. So today I'll stop here because technically we have finished discussion on trees. So I'll stop here today. Thank you.